someone next to you and say to them, Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Amen. This is truly a glorious and fantastic and exciting day. We have been taking a Lenten journey. We have been working, many of us, with our Lenten booklet, Be Ye Transformed. And the idea was to read these lessons and to be in a heightened state of prayer during this Lenten season, a heightened state of prayer and meditation, and go beyond our usual spiritual devotion. Why? Because we are getting ready, and we have been getting ready for our own personal resurrection. And I know many of you have been reading the booklet and have been applying these principles and ideas. And I just want to share with you what one of our members shared with me. I received an email recently, and I'll just share part of it. She said, Reverend Saba, the Lenten booklet for this year, Be Ye Transformed, was one of the most powerful yet. She said, page 28, surrender is one that I keep rereading and underlining. There are so many lessons in this booklet. It is truly amazing. I get a different message each time I read it. She goes on to say, even though circumstances prevented me from attending services regularly, I was still deep in my spiritual commitment and study. And my friends, we are talking about spiritual study. We are talking about making and keeping a connection, a conscious connection with that presence and that power that we call God. That is good. This past Friday, many of us were here for our Good Friday service, and we heard the metaphysical and spiritual definitions and explanations of each of the 7 last words of Jesus as he hung on the cross. And we are always looking for the practical application. It's more than just a story. It's more than just the history. But the question is, how can I apply these spiritual truths to myself in my life? First of all, what are the spiritual truths behind and embedded in each story? And then second of all, how can I apply them in my own personal life for my own spiritual development so that I can live a better life, a more fulfilling life, a healthier life? It's important to understand and realize that the cross and the resurrection, Good Friday and Easter, go together. The cross itself may be regarded as symbolizing the negative or the denial phase of the spiritual journey, our spiritual journey. And the cross indeed, and Charles Fillmore told us that the cross represents metaphysically the crossing out in consciousness of certain limited and negative states of mind that we may have had and entertained over our lifetimes. The cross represents the denial phase. And we know spiritually that whenever you have a denial, you also have the affirmation. Denials and affirmations go together. So the cross and the crucifixion of Jesus represents the denial phase of life. The resurrection represents the positive and the affirmative phase. The cross represents the overcoming. Let's understand, the cross and the crucifixion don't represent death and dying, but they represent the overcoming in our consciousness of limited states of mind, of lack and limitation, of doubt, fear, and worry, in order for us to get to the resurrection, in order for us to truly be uplifted in mind, body, and soul. We first have to eliminate, deny, cross out, and erase those thoughts of mind, those ideas, those feelings, those attitudes, those beliefs that say that I'm not worthy, I failed so many times, I guess I'm not supposed to succeed. Those thoughts that believe what other people say about us. Those thoughts that believe what we were told from our childhood even, that we're not attractive enough, and we're, our hair is too long, it's too short, and we're too dark or too light, and we're just not smart enough. You'll never be smart. You'll never find a good companion in life. Whatever it is, we've been told we need to eliminate and erase from our own minds. And it takes time, let's be real. It takes time, but it's a process that each of us has to undertake. So the crossing out, the releasing, is extremely important in order for us to rise in consciousness and in order for us to live a better and more fulfilling life, in order for us to live the type of life that we were created to live. The resurrection indeed represents our complete victory and overcoming over all of these limited states of mind, over all of these limiting attitudes. The resurrection, indeed, my friends, is not just about Jesus, but it's about us. Did you get that? The story, and I will read part of the story, but it's more than just the story of what happened to Jesus. Indeed, there are spiritual truths in this story that apply to us. So in the Gospel of Matthew, the story of the resurrection is told in each of the Gospels. So I'm reading from the Gospel of Matthew, the New Living Translation of the Bible. And in chapter 28, verse 1, it reads, "Early on Sunday morning, as the new day was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went out to visit the tomb. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord came down from heaven, rolled aside the stone, and sat on it. His face shone like lightning, and his clothing was as white as snow. The guards shook with fear when they saw him, and they fell into a dead faint. Then the angel spoke to the women, saying, 'Don't be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He isn't here. He is risen from the dead, just as he said would happen. Come see where his body was lying. And now go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead, and he is going ahead of you to Galilee. And you will see him there.' The women ran quickly from the tomb. They were very frightened, but also they were filled with great joy. And they rushed to give the disciples the angel's message. My friends, there were guards placed in front of the tomb, and there was a big boulder that was put in front of Jesus' tomb Why? Because the leaders at that time knew that Jesus said that he would rise from the dead, and they wanted to make sure that did not happen. So they put a big boulder and guards, centuries, standing there. That didn't work. It didn't work. And just to bring it to the practical application, there are many times when people try and put roadblocks in our lives, in front of us, telling us and preventing us, trying to prevent us from receiving and manifesting and experiencing our good. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Amen. Amen.
Okay. Sometimes out of their own fears, fear of you advancing beyond them, and sometimes because they feel, well, gosh, if you make it, then that means they should have made it too, but they can't make it, so they can't envision you making it, and they're going to try to keep you from making it just in case you can make it. But let's understand the tomb. The tomb is that state of mind that represents death and represents failure and fear. We have a choice as to whether to stay in that tomb, just as Jesus had a choice. The choice is whether we are going to stay in that tomb, stay in that feeling, in that attitude of lack and limitation, can't do and don't have, and it's not possible, and the time's not right, and the economy's not right, and I don't have what it takes, I don't have the education other people have, I don't have the training and background that other people have. If you want to stay in that tomb, you can. But guess what? The message of Jesus to each of us, to everyone, is that we do not have to stay in that tomb. Amen. We do not have to keep that consciousness, that state of mind. We indeed can be resurrected. We have the victory. We indeed can overcome. Jesus told us several things during his 3-year ministry, and he taught us many things. And one of the things that he taught us over and over again in many ways, and we talked about this. This was one of his words, actually a couple of his words from the cross, the 7 last words, refer to love. Let's be clear, in the scripture we just read, who came to the tomb early in the morning? Scripture says Mary Magdalene and the other Mary. Women, and Mary in particular, represent the faculty of love. Love which loves no matter what. Love which expresses regardless and in spite of appearances, and regardless and in spite of what people say. So this scripture really is saying to us that love faculty within us, which we express, and we said Friday that we need to express it and not just think about, talk about it. You know, many people talk about things, but they don't express it in their day-to-day life. So that love faculty was truly expressed through both Marys, if you will, as they went to the tomb that morning. Now, on the outer, they went to the tomb and they were going to cleanse the body and clean the body and so on, as was the traditional ritual. They were met by an angel, and that angel represents the spiritual I am. The I am presence, that God faculty within us, that tells us the good news, that tells us the truth, that tells us that he, in this case, not just Jesus, but those limited and negative thoughts that we have had about any and everything, it doesn't make a difference. They are gone. They have truly been crucified and crossed out, if you will. Work with me here. So the angel, the I am, God in you, is telling me, telling each of us, if we will only listen, telling us that we indeed already have the victory. We indeed have overcome if we accept it, if we believe it, if we truly receive it and are open to receiving it. That the angel said he is risen from the dead, those old, dead, limited thoughts of fear and negativity are gone. He, God, the I am, the truth of our being is risen above those limited and negative thoughts and conditions. And then scripture says the women were very frightened, but they were also filled with great joy. Frightened, and just like with us, and one of a couple of our Wednesday evening services, one of the people that were there said that some good things were happening to her, and it was almost too good to be true. Some things that she wanted to happen, to manifest in her life, she was manifesting them, and it seemed to come out of nowhere. And that happens to us sometimes. We pray for things and pray for things, and then when they come, we say, oh wow, we're surprised that our prayers were answered. So the women were frightened at the thought of Jesus' resurrection, but it also says that they were filled with great joy. They were happy and excited at the idea of resurrection, at the idea of overcoming, at the idea of finally being able to go beyond that which appears to be and to live life on a higher plane. Charles Fillmore told us, he said that the resurrection is the lifting up of the whole person into the Christ consciousness. It's the lifting up of the entire person, mind, body, and soul. The resurrection lifts up all of the faculties of mind until they conform to the absolute ideas of divine mind, until they conform to the idea of health and the idea of peace and the idea of love. So we are talking about lifting up and resurrecting our entire being. The glory of the Easter story is the resurrection lesson. And it's reminding us not to get stuck in the crucifixion, not to get stuck in that tomb, not to feel a sense of hopelessness, not to feel that all is lost. We were truly created to live a good life. The resurrection teaches us and shows us and reveals to us the truth of our being. When we are in a resurrected state of mind, then we realize that we can do, have, and achieve, and manifest all of the good we desire, because God has shown it to us. God has revealed to us that these are the good things that He has provided for us. And He, God, is just waiting for us to realize it and to step forth into our rightful place. We are talking, my friends, about celebrating a new life. We are talking about seeing and beholding a new vision for ourselves. We are talking, my friends, about realizing that our lives are not limited as we thought they were, as the world tells us it is. We are talking truly about living a life of freedom, a life of joy, a life of overcoming, and knowing and realizing that it indeed is possible. Jesus said, "He that believes on me, though he die, yet shall he live." Though he die in this situation, in this sentence, means though he, she, experiences what seems to be death and dying and limitation and heartbreak and setbacks, though you experience these things on the outer, if you believe in the path that I have set for you, if you believe in my commandments, in my teachings, then you indeed will rise up, you will overcome, you will indeed be able to ascend to a higher point of living, a greater degree of life. My friends, our opening statement in our bulletin, and I'd like us to affirm this together. I rise above crucifixion experiences and live a life of joy, happiness, and fulfillment. My friends, you can do this. This is the day for you to realize that you can do this. You are destined to do this. To my left is a wreath. It's a wreath of life. It's a wreath that's full of flowers, pretty and glorious flowers. Each of you will come around and take a flower from this wreath. And as you do so, you will realize that this flower represents your new life. Because we're putting behind us the old life. We're putting behind us the old way of thinking and doing and believing and acting and responding. We are walking into a new life. We are walking and stepping into our truth. And in that truth is peace, happiness, overcoming, abundance, joy, and contentment. In that new life that God created for us, everything is truly, truly possible. And we give thanks for that understanding, for that realization that for us, for me, in my life, because I put God first, everything in all things, everything that I desire, everything that I want, everything that I'm projecting to do and have and experience is possible for me. So now, as our ushers come forward, you will stand from my left and you will come to the wreath and pick a flower, any flower. Know that the flower that you are picking truly, truly is yours. And it represents your new life. Go ahead and sit down. Our theme during this Lenten season was transformation. In this section right here, please stand. And from the rear, come around to the front, from the rear. Come, just don't be shy, just come forward. Go down the center aisle. Our theme was transformation. And as we said earlier, we don't want to get stuck in the tomb. We don't want to get stuck in that old way of thinking and doing and believing. No matter how long we've been there, now is the time to get out. Anybody want to get out? Anybody want to escape? Anybody want to run to freedom? Amen, amen. Know that today you are taking a very important step in your own salvation, in your own resurrection, in your own liberation, in your own freedom. From the rear, from the back row, just come around to your left, come to your left. Left is over here. And come to the front. No, come this way. This way. Thank you, ushers, for assisting. Know that God's spirit, God's energy, God's life is in that beautiful flower. Transformed in mind, body, and soul. This section on my far right will come forward. Think about the infinite possibilities that exist for you. So, beautiful aroma. This, the beauty of this, the splendor of this flower, the majesty of this flower, indeed represents all that is within you, waiting for you to release it and express it and let it go, waiting for you to allow yourself to be resurrected in mind, body, and soul. And this day we truly, truly are resurrected. Let us affirm this together. I am resurrected. I am now resurrected in mind, body, and soul. Together. I am now resurrected in mind, body, and soul. My life will never, ever be the same.
My life will never, ever be the same.
This is the truth.